Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a brand new episode of Case Closed Live. This is Darius Wallace here, and as always, we have a lot to talk about. First of all, I'd like to thank everybody for all the support on the last episode of the Case Closed podcast, my first one. I thank you for all the support that was shown in the comments on Facebook. I really appreciate all of that. I really appreciate you guys welcoming me in as you did and giving me all the support that you've shown me so far. Also, I'd like to let you guys know that from this point forward, you can refer to me as Dwall. That is my nickname that I'm known for on other platforms. So if you guys would like to refer to me as Dwall, just to keep it, I guess a different way of doing it, then you can. That's fine. Either way, I'd really appreciate that as well. But let's get into your questions that you've submitted in. I know that there was a few that was submitted in earlier this a few weeks ago when the post was sent out on Facebook. But then there was also some questions that were kind of left out from August that either may or may not have been approached or answered. I don't know if they were or not, but I went back ahead and I looked at those questions. I'm going to answer them all anyways and give you my opinions on it. So let's get right into it, and I'm going to take as much time as I need to answer all these questions and give you my honest opinions on each one. So here we go. The first question, some of these are like I said, some of these are from back in August and some of them aren't, but here we go. And I'll also address some other things in this Case Closed Live episode as well. Chris Petrie asked, I'm curious about the Miraculous Investigation video game. I know it was released in English, but not in America. I believe it was released in America. Alle Bay was very, very low profile of a release. It wasn't really one of the big name releases like all the other video games out there, but it was released in America. The only thing now is I think it's very rare to find it. I myself have tried to find it, and I believe on eBay or Amazon are probably your best bets in trying to find it at this point. It's very, very rare, like I said before, as supposed to back when it was first released. It isn't as popular as it was, and even when it released, I don't believe it was as popular as it could have been because it wasn't as big of a release, like I said before. But I believe it is in America still. It's just very, very rare to find it. And speaking of that, I was going to kind of leave this as a surprise, but since the subject was brought up, I'm thinking of doing something different with this channel. As long as I'm, hosting and everything, I want to do something a little bit different to bring the fan base back to why we are here. So I'm going to plan on getting a Wii system and getting the Miraculous Investigation video game and playing through that on this channel. Now, I know you're going to say, but this isn't a Let's Plays channel. I understand that, but I want to make it a little bit different. I want to make it to where people can learn about the series, learn about the characters in it, like the main characters, Conan, Richard, Rachel. Just get to know all the names and faces, so that way they can go into the series and say, okay, I know about this. I might actually like this show. The purpose isn't about a Let's Play per se. It can get people involved in the video game, which would be really fun because I've seen Let's Plays of it and I really enjoyed watching it and I really would enjoy playing it, but it's not just about the Let's Plays. I think it's more about getting people involved in the series, getting more people to understand the characters that are in the series. And I believe that would be a good first step on the road to the Fandub, which I'll get to later. That will get people involved in this series and in this movement that we're currently on right now. So I hope that answered your question, Chris. Thank you for sending it in. I apologize if it was a few months back, but I got to it, and again, I apologize on behalf of Professor C also. I know he's had work and everything. And again, excuse me. Again, I really appreciate him coming in and giving me the opportunity to do this. So I just hope that I'm glad that you all have accepted me into this role, and I really appreciate it. Next question's from Travis. He asked a couple of questions. I'll get to his first one though. I'm reading this in order as how I got it wrote down. What's up with that Kickstarter pitch? The Kickstarter pitch, I believe it's actually a GoFundMe page, which is it's basically to fund panels. So to go to the panels and set up panels at these anime conventions and things like that to get people involved in our movement, to get people involved in our cause. And I'll get to that also in a little bit on as to all of that I've seen on Facebook about comments and mostly on Facebook about the comments on the Kickstarter and GoFundMe thing, which I think we should get to it now actually, because I just want to make it I just want to clear the air with it a little bit, because I looked on the Facebook page, and it seems that a lot of people are saying that we should focus more on getting the fans back from who've probably gone on since the whole hiatus happened with us and with Professor C rather. And actually, I think I agree. I don't remember who did it, but I think there was a post in August that said the same thing, and I believe there was one just recently that said the same thing on Facebook, where we should focus on getting our traffic back onto this page. I think it was on the Facebook, on the Case Closed Live thing. It said, I'm reading it off the Facebook page. It says, Jimmy Kudo, shouldn't we be trying to rebuild the fan base at this point, since this page has lost quite traffic due to the long stretches of inactivity, and worry about the GoFundMe page later? I don't know how Professor C would feel about this, but I'm going to give my honest opinion on it. I think I agree in a way. The whole fan base, the fan base is there, first of all, but the community as a whole, the movement as a whole, has kind of slowed down, I think. And I don't know if I'm the only one who feels that way. I think a lot of others might feel that way too, but I'm just speaking for myself here. I think it has slowed down a little bit, not by any fault of Professor C's, because life happens. Things happen. We all go through something. We all have work. We all have other things other than this that we have to do on our own time. And I understand that completely, and a lot of us do, I'm sure. But I think that now, with somebody who has a little bit of a lesser schedule, a little bit of a lesser things going on, then I think that we should continue to push the fan base more into what we're doing and get some of that traffic back in here, because I feel like that will really help our cause out, because there's been a lot of things going on a few months back where we really had everything going together. We had the Fandub going. We had a lot of support for that. We had the live streams. We had people coming in, submitting a bunch of questions on live. We had a lot of people listening to the podcast, but now it's kind of slowed down a little bit. But I'm hoping that with me trying to help out and trying to do my part, as much as I love the show and as much as I've loved being a little bit of a help with this movement, I feel like maybe I can do something to bring these people back in that kind of left out because there wasn't as much things going on with us. So hopefully I can be that for this movement. So thank you for that comment. Thank you for the question, Travis. I really appreciate it. And I hope that answers your question. We do have a GoFundMe page. It is on the bottom at the description below. But like I said, we do encourage you guys to donate to help out with the panels and everything, so we can get more people involved. But I also want to strongly urge all of you to share this with your friends. Share this with anybody who's a fan of Case Closed, who's a fan of Detective Conan. They're the same thing anyway. But to share this with anybody who even might be interested, who might go, okay, well, I may or may not want to watch this. I may or may not want to join this little group you're in. I encourage you to talk with them about it. Share it with them. Let them know what we're doing. Let them know what we're all about. Let them know, hey, this is a really great show. We're trying to do whatever we can to make it happen. So that's the main priority for me right now. The main priority for me, even though I want to encourage the GoFundMe page, I still encourage it. I still also encourage even more so to talk to everyone about this. Let them know what we're doing. Okay, so our next question is, go down here. It says, first of all, tell me what progress you have been making. Doesn't seem to get this petition. Has its roots getting stronger after all? It gets weaker and weaker. I think what they're trying to say is that the page is getting weaker, that it's not as involved. And I think I just addressed that in bigger detail. There's not been as much traffic in this community as it was before. So I feel like the GoFundMe page is kind of like an afterthought right now. I think that most of the fans are wanting to get this page, this movement, back to where it was before, where we had so many people involved. We had so many people on the website, involved on the podcast, involved in the live, involved in the live streams, then the Fandub, and all of these things. And I think that most of the fans, even though one or two people might have said it on Facebook or something, I think a lot of people are in agreement with what Jimmy said, is that we need to build our fan base back. And I hope that with what I'm going to try and do with this while I am here, I hope that helps with building up the fan base more and helping other people realize what we're doing and help them see what we're going on and what our cause is all about. So, our next question is from Aaron, and he says, and I believe, this is just one question. Do you think Discotheque Media will end up with a license to the series? They stated at Okatan that they were looking into it and have already begun releasing the crossover movie and special. Yeah. So the crossover movie and special is coming out at the end of the month. It's available for pre-order right now, and the links to the pre-orders are in the description also. But the question, do you think Discotheque Media will end up with the license to the series? If there's enough fans that want it, if there's enough attention behind these new releases, if there's enough copies sold, I think they will. I think they will pick up the series, because I believe that they know that Case Closed has a fan base. They know that there's a lot of people that have wanted the series for years and years and years to come back. We've fought for this series for years. Well, Professor C has fought for years. I keep saying we. I wasn't involved into it for a good long time until I found out about it. But Professor C headed up this movement. He worked hard. He busted his butt for it. And I'm just moving it along even further for him, helping him out, helping us out. And I believe that they know that the fan base is there. So if they know that the fan base is there, and they know that these new releases are going to get a bunch of copies sold, and if they do get a bunch of copies sold, I don't see why they wouldn't after Funimation's contract expires with them. Personally, I hope that they do pick it up, because I want to have a new series out. I want to have a new season out. Movies, whichever they decide to do with it, something. This is the first release that they've had in a pretty long time, Case Closed related, even though it's attached to Lupin the Third, which Discotheque has done several times in the past. I believe that they could possibly pick up the license. I have a good strong feeling that they will, The only thing that'll really sway their decision one way or the other is if the movie and the crossover that they're doing, the movie and the special, sell. So I encourage you guys, go out and get a copy of that. Show Discotheque Media that we want this series, that we want them to pick up this series, that we want them to sub or dub, I really prefer a dub, this series. So again, it just, in my opinion, it just depends on how many copies of the special and the movie get sold. And if those sell really well, then I don't see why they wouldn't pick up the series. Thank you for your question, Aaron. I really appreciate it. Okay, so the next question is from the same person who asked about the petition earlier. I already answered that before. The next question is from Vincent, and there's a couple of questions. Do you think people will be supportive of an official sub-release of Case Closed? Do you think they'll be happy with it? I don't know. I think they might if that's all we can get. If that's all we can get, then that's all we can get. I think a lot of people would prefer a dub because, we've wanted a season 6 dub for so long, especially after season 5 abruptly ended, and then the movie 3 came out, and then Anita, or however she's called, Sherry, came out of nowhere. And there wasn't really that episode that introduced her in the series at all. It was just shown in that little opening of the movie, like they do in every movie. And it was kind of like, that doesn't really work, because we wanted to see that. We wanted to see that episode. We wanted to hear that voice actor, which, by the way, an amazing voice actor for Anita, amazing voice actor. But and if you guys don't know, Anita is Javiera, or Sherry, from Detective Conan, the one that invented the poison that shrunk Jimmy. But anyway, and I'll get to, like I said in the last podcast, which I think I touched on a little bit. If I didn't, I'll just touch it on now. I think with the podcast, what I'm going to try and do with the podcast is get people informed on the characters. On what they are, on who they are, and everything like that, and get you guys more involved in the series. And for people who may not have watched the series, to get more involved with the characters, which is why I want to do the Miraculous investigation. But back to the question at hand. I think people would be okay with a sub, but I think they'd be more happy with a dub. Okay, there's no legal content, dub or sub, for episodes 124 through 753. With that being said, is there really an incentive for people to support an official release, something that is over 30 volumes behind in the manga and 660 episodes? Well, more than that now, because this was back in August. 660 episodes behind in the anime. Crunchyroll has been a gift of God in that it finally provided an outlet for us to watch the series, and only a week behind Japan's release. Case Closed on Crunchyroll is not very popular in comparison to several other titles on there. This could be because no one wants to start the series off at 754. Do you think it was worthwhile for them to start subbing the backing? Do you think it is worthwhile? Currently, it would make sense that we've been able to purchase future releases on Crunchyroll, like the sub of season 24. What are some qualities that you like about the dub or sub? What would you change? To answer your first question, is there really an incentive for people to support an official release? I think there would be. I think that really, with the hardcore fan base that wants to see a dub of where season 5 left off, I think it would be that incentive, is the fact that we would not have to wait for that backlog to come in that Crunchyroll didn't do, which I thought they would when they released it, when they announced that they were going to start subbing it. I actually thought, and I think a lot of us thought, that they were going to actually have the backlog of all the other older episodes as well, but they didn't, and it kind of turned people off a little bit, which is kind of why I get your point as to why it's not as popular as it should or would be. But I think that's the incentive, is that people wanted to see season 6. personally for us in America, we wanted to see season 6 and it never happened. We just got the movies after that. And it kind of turned people off the wrong way because we wanted to see that whole fallout with the black organization. We wanted to see everything after that and then lead into movie 3. But that didn't happen. And we've been waiting for years for that. So now I think if they did do an official release, whether Discotek picks it up, and I hope they do, then I think what they should do is go start from where it left off and go from there. Because that would be the only solution that makes sense. So, also, do you think it is worthwhile for them to start subbing the backlog? Yes, I think it would be worthwhile. If it would make more sense that way, it would get people to stop looking at releases that are not on Crunchyroll and they're just on the internet, which I get why that people do that, but I think an official sub from Crunchyroll would probably work a lot better. I think it would get people more involved better. It would get Crunchyroll to notice the fan base better, because if Crunchyroll, there's only, like you said before, it's not as popular on Crunchyroll compared to the other titles because they didn't backlog anything. They started from 754 back in August, from when this was posted. I think it was when they started in a few months ago. They started at 754, and that was something that they shouldn't have done, because I think if they had backlogged everything, including starting at 754, then maybe they would have been having a lot more viewers. But it's what it is. We can't help that. So do you think it's worthwhile for them to start subbing the backlog? Yes, I do think it's very worthwhile. What are some qualities that you like about the dub/sub? I think the only thing that I personally like about the dub is that it gets me more involved in the series. I think it gets me more intrigued. The sub I don't have a problem with either, because I watch a lot of subbed anime. I don't really see, I prefer a dub, but I'm getting more used to subs too. I don't think there's much of a difference except for the, language barrier and all that. But what would I change? I don't know what I would change, actually. I'm not too sure. I don't think I'd change much. I know that, obviously names change. Obviously, certain things that people say in the sub aren't translated over in the dub for obvious reasons. Some reasons are not so obvious. But, I don't know what I would change. But, what I can say, like I said before, is that it would make a difference either if it was subbed or mostly dubbed for people that want to see the series come back. I really think that maybe that would be a lot better than them just not even doing the backlog at all and just going straight from the new episodes and never addressing it. I think Crunchyroll should address it. I don't know if they ever will. I don't know if it's just because they feel like maybe, and I just thought of this, maybe it's because they didn't backlog it because they feel like somebody else is going to pick up the license eventually, and that they're going to start either subbing or dubbing from way back in the older episodes. Maybe that's it. I'm not sure, but that's my best guess, is that I just talked about it earlier. If Discotek Media picks up the series, then they're going to license the older episodes anyway, and we may just get an official dub or sub of the older episodes regardless. So maybe that's why, I don't know, but that's my best guess. But again, I think it would be in their best interest if they decide to go ahead and backlog the episodes and put them on Crunchyroll also. So maybe then that'll get some viewers in. So Vincent, thank you for your question. Thank you for sending it in. I hope that I answered all your questions. If I didn't, then you can just send in another question. I'll get to it on the next episode of Live. So again, thank you. Thank you very much for all that. And then last question is from Travis again. Do you think that the fans would be okay with a new voice cast if Discotek or anyone else got the rights to the show? I think maybe maybe they would. I know we've gotten so used to the voice actor for Conan so much, and I think it would be weird if that same voice actor didn't come back. Alison Victorin, I think her name is. I think that's how you pronounce it. She's an amazing voice actress. If there was a way for me to get her on the show, I know Professor C wanted to at one point. I might even try to do that, because that sounded like an amazing idea when he brought it up before. But that's not the point. The point is answering the question. Sorry, I got sidetracked. I think that if there was a new voice cast, there wouldn't be that much of a big deal. I believe One Piece got a new voice cast also, or mostly a new voice cast. Once 4Kids got sent away and Funimation picked up One Piece and they started doing the dubs, I think that it'll be the same way here if somebody else decides to pick up the series, or maybe they do reach out to some of the old voice cast. Maybe they may not be able to get everybody, but if they get at least the main key people, then it wouldn't be that big of a deal. But if they have to do a new voice cast, I don't think there would be that big of an issue with it, because what can you do? I mean, what can you do about if the voice actors have other commitments, or if they just can't do it? I can see why they wouldn't, we wouldn't have an issue with it. So I wouldn't have an issue with it. Hopefully you guys wouldn't have an issue with it, but if that's the case, then I totally understand, because that voice cast for the Funimation dub was absolutely incredible. I loved all the voices for them. I think they fit the roles perfectly. But if there had to be a new voice cast, I wouldn't personally see an issue with it, because that we're still getting a dub. At the end of the day, we're still getting a dub. So that's all there is to it. So thank you guys for sending in your questions. I hope I answered each and every one of them to the best of my ability. Honestly, I thank you guys again for sending in all your questions, and I hope you guys can send in more questions next time, and encourage anyone else to share their questions also, and I'll be able to answer them to the best of my knowledge and ability, honestly. Now, last thing, very important, is the Fandub. A lot of people have been asking about the Fandub, and for the best of my knowledge, from the last time Professor C talked to us about this, the Fandub is kind of on hold, because there's still positions that need to be filled. There's still background extras that need spots. And you guys, I know you guys have been asking, but I'm just gonna emphasize it right now, because I know Professor C would do the same thing. The Fandub can't happen without extras. The Fandub can't happen without people wanting to do it. So I encourage you guys, go to the email below, caseclosed1992 at live.com. Email Professor C. Ask him, is there any spots left in the Fandub? Because I'm just saying it for him. Without those spots, if those spots are not filled, then the Fandub can't happen. It's nearly there. We're nearly there, guys. We're nearly there. This Fandub, I know he said it before, but this Fandub can bring people into this movement. It can bring people into this series, but it can't happen without you. It can't happen without you, the loyal Case Closed fan base, to get involved, to send in those emails and say, hey, I want to be a part of this thing. I want to be a part of this Fandub. I want to be a part of this movement. How can I help? How can I do my part? How can I do my duty to help out this cause? So again, I encourage you guys, please, the email's down below, caseclosed1992 at live.com. It's very, very important to this Fandub that you guys get involved, and there's still spots available. I'm just going to stress that right now. There's still spots open for anybody that wants to be in it. I know it's not the key people, but who knows? A spot can open up later on for that. But the main purpose of this is to get these background spots filled, so we can get this Fandub happening, so we can all see all the hard work that Professor C and all the voice actors that have already put in their voices to make this happen, to see all that hard work pay off, to see all their hard work and all of their dedication and the time they spent, the time they put in making this Fandub happen, to see it come through, to the light. And I know you guys want to see it, and I know I want to see it. I know Professor C wants to see it. We all want to see it. But we can't see it if there's not any people that want to do these extra spots that are open. These extra spots have been open for months now, and we have to get them filled. And the sooner we get them filled, the sooner we can get the Fandub happening. The sooner the Fandub happens, the sooner people can get back involved in this movement and get back involved into this cause that we have. So, guys, I just want to I'm pouring this out from the bottom of my heart. If you guys want to get involved in this series, if you guys want to get involved in this movement, if you want to get involved in this Fandub, please email caseclosed1992@live.com. Please, please, please go to that email address, email Professor C. He will listen to any advice you have, any not really advice, but the questions about the Fandub, whether if there's any spots open, how to send in your voices, the scripts, whichever he has, he will answer that question for you over there. But if you want to be in this, please email. It will be really appreciated, and we can get this Fandub happening, guys, because, guys, I want to see it. I personally want to see it. As a fan, personally, I want to see the Fandub happen. I really want to, and I know you guys do too. So it's really important that you guys do that. But again, thank you guys for listening to this episode. I really thank you guys for inviting me in, for letting me take on this role. I know I'm gonna say this over and over again for a while until I get used to it, but thank you, Professor C, personally, for letting me have this opportunity to do these things, to do live, to do the podcast, to interact with you guys. Thank you. And again, I'll be here for another episode of Live. When the time comes to send in your questions, please send in as many questions as you want, and encourage your friends to do the same. I will answer them to the best of my ability. And again, so just to recap, you guys, the Lupin the Third Detective Conan series and the special and the movie are coming out at the end of the month. The links to the pre-orders are down below. Please, please, please pre-order that. Discotheque needs to see that we want a dub or a sub, that we want them to pick up the license to the series. So please send those pre-orders in, get the copies. They're amazing, amazing, amazing specials and movies. And I encourage you guys to do that. Go to the Case Closed, the Save Case Closed website. It's still active there. It's got forums. Interact with Professor C and all the others over there. Really, really, really great community over there. The links to that is down below. Also, our Facebook. That's where you can ask any questions for Live. The GoFundMe page is still there. When we get more traffic in here, I'm pretty sure that thing's going to grow. It's going to skyrocket through the roof. I guarantee you that. And also, please, 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 if you guys want to see the Fandub, you guys keep asking for it, and I don't want to be rude, and I'm not a guy to be rude. If I am being rude, I apologize right now for it. But if you guys want to see the Fandub, you got to send in an email and to ask Professor C if there are any spots that you could fill. It's just, background extra spots. It's a spot. It'll get the Fandub to happen. But if you want to see it happen, you gotta make the effort to put in that email and tell Professor C, I want to see this Fandub happen. How can I help? How can I make it work? How can I make it happen? You gotta do it, guys. I encourage you guys, please go out there, send in that email. It's down in the description. I encourage you guys to do that. It would really help the movement out a lot. So again, guys, that's all the time I got. I don't want this to run on too long. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for sending in your questions. Thank you guys for inviting me in again. And I will see you guys, and I'll talk to you guys on the next episode of Case Closed Live. This is Dwall, and I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks, guys.